All right. Looks like it is working. Falling back, put $1 in the all right jar. That was interesting. That was interesting. I tried to go live and somehow it went to private mode. Don't know why that happened, but it does look like we're live now. I think. I think. Who knows? Who knows? But it is April 10th. It is a Wednesday. I got a really interesting big idea. Just making sure. Pulling this up just to see if we're live, because okay, we are. Cool. Okay. Nice. Mute the tab. Anyway, well, if anyone joins us, thank you for joining. A little bit late today. I started and it just didn't seem to work out. And so I won't let it affect me at all. I will just keep going on with things as they are. But I want to talk about this idea. This is a big idea. And this is called the Mind After Midnight phenomenon. The Mind After Midnight phenomenon, yeah. And I want to talk about what keeps us up at night. And I'm not talking about... Oh, hang on. Hang on a sec. Ooh, I gotta mute all these tabs. Mute the tabs. Okay, let me try that again. Oh. Anyway, let's talk about what keeps us up at night. And no, I'm not talking about existential dread or wondering if aliens are real. I'm talking about the Mind After Midnight phenomenon. You know, the magical time when your brain decides to throw a party while the rest of you is trying to catch some Z's. I mean, seriously, who hasn't found themselves wide awake at 3 a.m., suddenly convinced that every decision they've ever made has been a terrible decision? It's like our brains have a switch that flips as soon as the sun goes down, turning us into emotional, impulsive creatures who think it's a good idea to hit the Ben and Jerry's at 4 in the morning. But hey, it's not all about gloom and doom. No, according to experts, and by experts I mean people who stay up way too late reading obscure scientific journals, there's a silver lining to this nocturnal madness. Apparently, our creativity goes through the roof after midnight, so if you've ever had a brilliant idea or the next great American novel while staring at the ceiling, you can thank your overactive amygdala for that one. But let's not kid ourselves, folks. For every stroke of genius in the dead of the night, there's a dozen irrational decisions and existential crises waiting in the wings. It's like a twisted game of roulette where the wheel never stops spinning and the stakes are your sanity. Now, some may say, why not just go to bed earlier? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Because it's that easy, right? If it were up to me, I'd be tucked in, 10 p.m., cup of sleepy time tea, and a good book. But life doesn't always work that way, does it? So, here we are, burning the midnight oil, wondering why we can't seem to get our act together. Yeah. So, anyway, here's to the night owls, the insomniacs, and anyone else who's found themselves staring into the void at 2 a.m. Remember, folks, we're all in this together. And who knows, maybe tomorrow night we'll finally get some sleep. My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee Nuance Show. Dare to say the best censored commentary news show live right now. Flame on. All right. Cool. All right. Throwing all the money in the jar. Nice to see you, Lucid. So apparently this did get out into the universe. Oh man, I started the stream, and I guess I was doing some testing to try not to make this mistake, and I turned it all to private. So it doesn't really work when you do that. But anyway, since today is Wednesday, it's a Big Idea Wednesday. I want to talk about this phenomenon. It's called the mind after midnight phenomenon. Okay. And in it, like, we can explore our behavior and our cognition during nighttime. And there's both positive and negative effects. At night, we tend to act more impulsively. We experience heightened emotions and engage in deep rumination. This is attributed to changes in brain metabolism, specifically a decrease in prefrontal cortex activity and increased amygdala activation. So we got hormonal shifts, decreased serotonin and dopamine release at night, and lower cortisol levels. And that contributes to altered behavior at night. Consequently, right, people often will make rash decisions after midnight. They'll experience intense cravings and engage in risky behavior, like overeating unhealthy foods. Also, cognitive functions such as working memory and problem-solving abilities decline after midnight, potentially leading to accidents, increased violence, and suicide rates. Now, despite all the negative aspects, nighttime also offers heightened creativity and bravery for new experiences. However, excessive nighttime wakefulness may contribute to psychological problems such as depression, anxiety disorders. And so the advice with everything, right? Moderation in all, right? Moderation in nighttime activities is advised to maintain your mental well-being. And this is kind of important to think about. There is a change in how our brain works, how our body works after midnight. And no, it's not technically at the stroke of 12 when it happens, but late into the night when we should naturally be asleep by that time. If we stay up longer than that, there are changes to our brain chemistry, our hormones in our body that will make us act differently. And so many of those can be very negative. And also, sometimes you can be hit with some creativity. Often I come up with incredible ideas in the middle of the night, which is kind of the lottery effect of why you may stay up. Because I like staying up because I get these great ideas. But I also get all this other baggage that comes with it. But so just to put a name to that, that is called the mind after midnight phenomenon. And so pay attention to that. So if it's after midnight, pay attention that how your brain is working a little bit differently. And perhaps it's lying to you that you need to go and, hit the freezer and grab the Ben & Jerry's. It's your mind after midnight. It's a bit out there, if you will. Anyway, we got a number of stories to get to today. Hopefully some of them will be semi-positive. But these are just stories to figure out what's going on in the world. First up, I guess I'm going to briefly talk about what happened in Chicago. Yeah, so here we are. What's up, Doug? Hey, Gonzo. Thank you for catching me live. I like it. Very nice. Good to see some people over on Rumble and on the YouTube. But this story. Now, the story that I am summarizing here, I got from USA Today, but this has been the national story. Listen to the headline here. Seatbelt violation ends with black man dead on Chicago street after cops fired nearly 100 bullets. If you just read that headline, wow, that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. Well, let's check out the story. March 21st, Dexter Reed was fatally shot by Chicago police officers after they fired nearly 100 rounds during a traffic stop. Officer claimed they pulled Reed over for a seatbelt violation, but this has been questioned by the city's police watchdog agency. Body cam footage suggests Reed may have fired first, but his family's attorneys dispute this, asserting he was unarmed and surrendering with a gun in his hand. The incident has sparked calls for accountability and police reform in the city, with a history of controversial police killings. Well, they're controversial if you make them controversial, right? This one, I don't even understand why it's a story. They've released the body cam. You can go, if you are interested, and watch all the body cam from every single cop on the scene as to what happened. I question the way that this story is being reported. It's totally clear if you watch any of the body cam. There's 4 different cops with guns drawn on the guy. They pulled him over. He had tinted windows in his SUV. He's wearing a ski mask, up to like here. Not sure why in March I don't know. I mean, maybe it was really, really cold, but driving around with a ski mask? Who drives around with a ski mask? They're yelling at him to put his hands up, and he pulls out a gun and shoots the cops. He shoots, the first shots are by the victim, and he shoots a police officer and hits him. And the cops retreat, and they turn around and they blast him, and they kill him. That's 100% sure what they did, but that's after getting shot at by asking a guy to put his hands up. It's obviously it's tragic. I don't know what anyone would expect. This should be like, it's raining outside and somebody got wet. Like, isn't that what you would expect to happen? It's raining outside. I went outside and I got wet. Yeah, that's exactly what you would expect. In this case, this 26-year-old dude, I guess, I think he's 26, gets pulled over. He pulls a gun on the cops and shoots the cops. And then they return fire and kill him. To me, that is as clear as, it's raining. Why am I getting wet? Like, I don't know. And I get it. Some people can say, like, oh, they went overboard. They didn't have to shoot that many. They didn't have to unload the entire clip or whatever. You can have some criticism about the whole thing. I don't know what I would do, but if someone shot at me, and I was a cop and someone shot at me, I mean, I'm unloading all my bullets into someone that tried to kill me. That seems to be the natural thing to do. So I don't really even know why this is a story. Well, we know why this is a story, because they're elevating it and they're skewing the coverage of this to somehow turn, they're saying, like, even the headline here, seatbelt violation ends with black man dead. You're like, oh, why did they shoot him over a seatbelt? They didn't shoot him over a seatbelt. They shot him because he shot at them first. That's why they shot at him. So anyway, I think this story is insane. It shouldn't have coverage. The only reason that it has coverage is because the media is putting this out in a very slanted, biased way. Because if I saw the headline, oh, seatbelt violation ends with a black man dead after cops fired nearly 100 bullets. Oh, that's terrible. They shot him 100 times for not wearing a seatbelt. That's the implication from the USA Today headline. And that's not at all what happened. So anyway, that's that story. Shouldn't even be a story. No one should even be talking about this. Except, maybe that should be a class. Like, don't do these things. But yeah, I don't even know. Hey, Gonzo, thanks for this. Gonzo comes in with a nice tip. Thank you, Gonzo. Why does the media insist on taking the side of blatant criminals? As much as you might hate the media, you don't hate them enough. That is kind of how I feel. Like, there's a meme that Michael Malice does on X. When anytime a corporate journalist gets fired, he places a little gif of, it's like an anime girl dancing um, saying so I can't even remember, like corporate media is, you know, they're not human or something like that. It's but it's crazy, and you can go through and look at all of the different headlines from the New York Times, the Washington Post, and whatnot. The implication, if you were to read the headline, was these terrible cops shot a guy for not wearing a seatbelt. That's what the story looks like. And as we know, most people only read the headline. They only read the headline. They don't even read the first paragraph, you know? If we could get people to read the first paragraph, that would be such an improvement. But most people just read headlines. And this is a lot of confirmation bias. You turn around, and if you're a person that thinks all the cops are bad, you see a story about cops being bad, you get on social media, look, the cops are being bad again. They murdered a guy for not wearing a seatbelt. Maybe we'll call this, you know, you can't even not wear a seatbelt if you're black in this country. The cops will murder you. You know what? I'm sure we'll hear that. So anyway, this shouldn't even be a story, but if you're interested, just go ahead, look at the coverage of this, and you can actually go and you can watch all the body cam footage. They released it all. And how they're saying that he was unarmed, this is kind of rich. They're being technically true. They're saying that at the end, right, after he'd been shot, he no longer was holding the gun. And so when they shot him after he dropped the gun because he's dead, they didn't need to shoot him again. And I can understand that, you know. But guess what? Humans overreact to things, and I think you may overreact if you got shot. Just saying. Anyway, let's get to the next story, and more importantly, the coverage of this next story. Yeah. Oh, interesting. We got some good comments. I'll be going through all your comments in the after show. So thanks for that. But I want to talk about Ashley Biden's diary and the fallout from this. Now, you may remember years ago when Ashley Biden's diary was coming up during the last election. It was a conspiracy theory. It was fake. Nothing about this was true, etc., etc., etc. Well, here's the headline. A Florida woman who stole and sold Ashley Biden diary to Project Veritas sentenced to jail. So let's see if that headline is accurate. But here's the story. Amy Harris, Florida woman, was sentenced to a month in jail and 3 months of house arrest for stealing President Joe Biden's daughter's diary and selling it to Project Veritas for $40,000 during the 2020 presidential campaign. She pleaded guilty to conspiracy to transport stolen property across state lines. The diary entries were later leaked by a right-wing news website claiming they received it from Project Veritas whistleblower. But Project Veritas denied any wrongdoing. No charges have been filed against Project Veritas or its founder. Here's a little side note from the story. According to court papers, now this is if you go down to like paragraph 8, yeah. According to court papers, 2 days after the president's daughter moved out of her former Florida home, Harris moved in and found the items. So this stolen diary that they're talking about, how she stole it, she moved into a place and there was stuff that was left behind that wasn't cleaned out, and amongst it was a diary. And she realized, oh, this is Vice President Biden's daughter. Ooh, this could be worth some money. Now, you can say that it didn't belong to her. You can say that she should have returned it or something like that. But if you are like renting a house, right, move into a place and there's some stuff left in the closet or whatever, that's not stealing. I don't know. We need a different term, but I think it is for the media to frame this as that she stole it is 100% BS. If you move into a place and there's some stuff left in a closet, and that's happened to me before, you know, you move into a place, oh, they forgot to take this out, and you take it and you know, throw it in the trash or put it out for Goodwill or whatever it may be. That's not stealing, okay? But you can go through and look at the coverage of this story, and in all the stories that I could find about this, they all talked about how she stole it. She stole Joe Biden's daughter's diary. She stole it. So if you find something on the ground and you pick it up, that's stealing, according to the corporate media. That's stealing. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is what was in this diary that it's such a big deal that we need to run cover for it. A lot of terrible stuff. And just because someone writes something in a diary doesn't mean that it's true, right? You can write anything in a diary. That doesn't mean that just because you write it in a diary means that it actually happened. I'm sure a lot of people lie in their diary, or it could be creative writing. We don't know. Okay? But if you report that someone found a diary and this is what was in it, that should be legitimate news. And there was some weird stuff in there, tragic stuff. I think she had a hard life. She did talk about she didn't know if she was molested as a kid, which is horrible. And she did talk about her dad taking showers with her to a probably inappropriate age. Okay, and this is all Biden's daughter says this in the diary. That's all kind of, I don't know, odd, I guess we can say. But what happened to anybody that reported that? They were called conspiracy theorists. They were pushing probably Russian disinformation. This wasn't a real diary. This was never, blah, blah, blah. We know how it works. If it's information that the DNC, that the Democrats, that the permanent Washington state doesn't want you to see, it's all a conspiracy theory. It's all Russian disinformation. It's all BS. Anyone that promotes it is, a Putin puppet or whatever. And it turns out this was actually her diary, and this is the court case. And now this lady who found the diary is going to jail. This seems like a political prosecution to me. They got her on a technicality because she took the thing across state lines, and I guess technically they considered it stolen, and you can take something across state lines that's stolen. They got her on a technicality, but I don't even know how you call it stolen. This seems like nothing but a political prosecution to me. But that's the country we live in today. That's the country we live in today. Anyway, speaking of Biden, I gotta mention this. So here's the headline. Biden says he's considering Australia's request to drop prosecution of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Yeah. President Biden is considering Australia's request to drop charges against Julian Assange for leaking classified documents. Assange, founder of WikiLeaks, faces espionage charges in the U.S. His supporters argue he's a journalist protected by the First Amendment. I stand by that. Situation raises concerns about press freedom and Assange's health in prison. So this is pretty incredible. This is a really interesting turn. It does make me very scared for Julian Assange, that maybe they know he's going to die soon, and if Joe says he was going to pardon him, or not pardon him, but drop the charges on him, maybe that's a cover. I don't know. It's all like conspiracy. Like, I can't read minds. But if Joe Biden does indeed drop the charges on Julian Assange, I can honestly say Biden has done something that I agree with. I don't know of a single thing that he's done that I support. And I'm being sincere. I don't know of a single act that he's done that I think is a good idea or that I support. But this would be the one thing. Broken clock is right twice a day, right? And that would be the case. But frankly, he better not tease this and not do it. I don't have a whole lot of hope for it, but that would be a really interesting turn. And it also could be if they know that Trump is going to win, and if they know that Trump is going to pardon Assange on day one, which I believe he will, this may be a way just to get credit for it. I don't know, though. I can't get in anyone's mind. Certainly not Joe Biden's. So anyway, we need a little positive story. I don't know that this is necessarily good news or whatever, but let's get to a tad more of a positive story today. I don't know if I've talked about this or not, but Costco is selling as much as $200 million in gold bars every month, Wells Fargo estimates. Costco's been experiencing significant success in selling 1-ounce gold bars, reportedly generating between 100 and 200 million in revenue each month. This remarkable surge in sales is attributed to Costco's competitive pricing and strong customer trust. Although the exact price of these gold bars is undisclosed to non-members, it's estimated to include a 2% markup above spot price, approximately totaling about $2,400 for an ounce. The demand for gold bars has surged amidst rising inflation rates, with Costco's bars quickly selling out upon restocking, prompting discussions on Reddit forums. Costco has increased the purchase limit to 5 bars per shopper and offers additional benefits such as insured shipping and cashback rewards for members. Despite the high sales volume, analysts suggest that Costco's profit margin for gold is relatively low, and it should be. I think one of the reasons that this is doing really well, have you ever tried to buy precious metals and you just go to a store that sells gold or silver? The whole thing is weird. You got the spot price, and then they tack on an extra charge and this charge and that charge. It's kind of confusing. But to me, because I looked at buying silver, a bunch of silver, and I couldn't believe the service charges from the local shops on what they were adding on. And to me, it was like, here they're saying Costco is doing a 2% markup. I think it was about a 20% fee to buy it, which to me seemed insane that you would pay that much more just for the benefit of them selling it to you. I don't know. Whole thing was rather odd. I don't really understand. I understand buying precious metals if you're just doing it online and it's like in an account or something like that. But when you actually go to a retail store to buy physical gold or physical silver, there seems to be a lot of extra charges that are kind of weird. So if you can find a place without all that extra charges, it'd probably be a good thing to do. With so much inflation, I think everybody needs to look at not having a whole bunch of US dollars and moving that into something else, whether that be precious metals or Bitcoin or something like that, or other assets that may rise in value. I think if you hold on to US dollars, you're essentially paying a inflation tax every single month. So I understand the popularity of gold, and you can go and you can get an ounce of gold and a hot dog and a soda for $2,401.50. So that's always a deal. Anyway, those are all the stories that I have prepared for today. Stick around for the after show. I'll go through all of your comments. And yeah, and then I will be back on Friday with a Fact Check Friday. Talk about what's going on in fact checking or fake checking, whatever we want to call it. But stick around for the after show. I'll see you then. Peace. So you can see here, I have the, let's see if I can get this in. Pop out chat. And pop out chat. There we go. So what happened is I started the show today, and for whatever reason I had done some testing, so I set it on private, and then when I started the show, I didn't realize that it was still on private. Let's see, I go here, and it is. That's not it. That's not it. There we go. Okay, here we go. So now we got our chat up. Nice, nice. So, but Gonzo, finally catching you live. Good to see you. Thank you for the tip. And it is odd that the media, how they choose these things. There's reasons that it happens, but all of the reasons that you could think, why do they do this? It's all incentives, and certain things are incentivized and other points of view are de-incentivized. And so you just kind of pick up on it. And you know, well, if I run the story this way, they'll put my story on the front page, and if I run it a different way, it's not going to. So that's kind of what happens. Gonzo says, mid-20th century Austrian painter vilified and takes his own life. Oh, if you know, you know. There we go. I like that. That was thank you for the chuckle. I appreciate that. Over on YouTube. All right. Yeah. Put $1 in the all right jar. After midnight, we're gonna let it all hang out. Indeed. Click it or ticket to the ER. Bump. Yeah, of course. He was a nice boy. He was just going out for a drive. I know that the guy that was killed, he already was out. He was facing charges for a gun already, so he was awaiting trial. I don't think he even was legally allowed to carry a gun, but that's not going to stop the headline writers, and it's not going to stop the media from, you know, making him. Yeah, he was such a nice boy. He was such a nice boy. He was out wearing a ski mask and a handgun, shooting at cops, because that's what nice boys do. Never shoot all your bullets. Leave one in the pipe while you reload, in case you need to fire while digging for your clip. Okay, well, I'm not. I will keep that in mind for the next shootout that I'm in. Oh, I've seen that GIF. Yeah. That's a very funny GIF. Hey, Dad, can you wash my back while you're in here? Yeah, kind of weird. Yeah, finders keepers. No. Finders keepers is now you find something, you are a thief. Apparently, that's how it works. Yeah. As far as the abandoned property, I'm sure that there's a thing that if there's abandoned property, you have to disclose it, or you need to do something. You need to fill out a form or turn it in somewhere before you can get it back. And obviously that wasn't done. Lucid needs to make a trip to Costco. I also need to go to Costco today, pick up a couple things. don't think I'll be picking up any ounces of gold, though. I haven't seen them there, like in the aisles. You know, just can you imagine just gold bars there in the aisle? Yeah, they're probably going to need to be looking a little closer at the ticket when you roll out of the Costco. They tack on future profits. Oh, okay. Yeah. So anyway, that was interesting. Hey, this was kind of interesting. YouTube has a new thing with AI that if you use AI in any case, you're supposed to disclose it to YouTube, and they put it like a warning on the video. This is a new thing that they're doing. I actually I checked the thing today. I think that says I have some AI. Now, I don't have any AI in my video. However, the thumbnail today and the thumbnails for the last month or whatever have been AI generated. Now, I did get a critic telling me that I was really scummy for using an AI generated picture of a handsome man in my thumbnail, and then to click on it and then see it's me. Which that somehow that is being somewhat deceitful by having that. So, but I did reply to the critic, and I said this was here's the exact prompt that I used to make the handsome man that is in the thumbnail. I said, an ultra-detailed, realistic digital art featuring Tom Coffey of the YouTube channel Coffee and Nuance, with a short beard and brown hair, wearing a colorful Hawaiian shirt, holding a mug of coffee, looking happy while surrounded by what looks like an apocalypse and a city in ruins with crumbling buildings and trash fires. Happy accidents, exquisite detail. These are all little tags you throw on at the end to make it look prettier. 30 megapixels, 4K, Canon EOS, 5D Mark IV, DLSR, 85 millimeter lens, sharp focus, intricate detail, long exposure, f-stop 2, ISO 100, shutter speed 1/125th, diffuse backlighting, award-winning photograph, facing camera, looking into camera, monovision, perfect contrast, high sharpness, depth of field, ultra detailed photography, etc., etc. Ultra high def, 8K, Unreal Engine 5, ultra sharp focus, award-winning photography. So that was the actual literal prompt that I used for that last thumbnail that I did on Monday. But I think the funny thing is he was like, hey, you put a thumbnail of a handsome man, and then I click on it and I see you. And I'm like, well, I didn't tell AI to make a handsome man. I told AI to make a picture of Tom Coffey of the YouTube channel Coffee and Nuance. That's what I told it to do. And yes, it did make a handsome version of me. I will admit that, but I didn't tell it to make it better looking than me. It just does that, you know. And yeah, you mean your chin isn't really chiseled granite, Tom? No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, in fact, I got a nice scar across the front of my chin here, which is kind of why I have a beard. If anything, the AI rendition doesn't do you justice, Tom. Oh, thanks. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. But I do find it funny, though. And I would be interested if anyone else did this. If you want, not you have to. It's crazy, though, that some AIs know who I am. And I can just put in, do a picture of Tom Coffey, of the channel Coffee and Nuance. And it makes a middle-aged white dude with shorter hair on the sides and, a little beard and my hairstyle, just like short brown hair, not curly at all. And what I find funny about that is that it always makes me. Like, it always makes someone that looks like me. It never makes someone that looks, you know, it's like, I don't know that it's making me, but it's making like a guy my age, my complexion, etc. You know, but obviously there are people that have blonde hair. There are people that have black hair. There are people that have, you know, that are different ages. But if you ask it to do Tom Coffee, that's what it gives you. That's what the AI gives you. And I find that kind of weird, kind of weird and amusing. But you could try it too, just to see, you know, like, I don't know, Tom might be lying to me. We'll go into the AI and tell it, make a picture of Tom Coffee from the YouTube channel Coffee Nuance, and see if it does me or something else. But I find the whole thing rather odd. But so I did disclose today that I used AI. I don't know if I need to declare that this clearly AI thumbnail is AI, because I mean, I think it's pretty clear that it's not a real person, but I did that just to see what the disclosure looks like and whatever. So I'll do some more experimenting with that. But yeah, they want to make sure that if people are putting out video that has been edited with AI or that is deceitful in ways, that they're able to label it as AI generated, which is not a bad thing. Yeah, catfishing thumbnail, a total catfishing thumbnail. In fact, the thumbnails are so good, I should you know, use that for a dating app, right? I could just have AI make a date. Do you think anyone would go like, oh, look at this handsome guy, I got to meet him? Do you think? Right? Everyone's going to know it's AI, right? I mean, they're going to know it's AI. But so I don't know how close to reality it needs to be, technically, to be disclosed. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. Anyway, I'll be back on Friday, and you know, thanks everyone for hanging out. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your support and your feedback. Thank you all so much. Have a beautiful day. Till next time. Bye-bye.